Okay, so part one of the time that my best friend set me up to be unalived, and I was shot 5 times while 18 weeks pregnant. Okay, so for starters, my best friend is a he, not a she. And I'm gonna have to take y'all back to about a month before I get shot so I can make it all make sense. You feel me? So for those of you who know me, you know. But if you don't know me, mama was outside with the movers and the shakers. I was a street pharmacist. I'm talking about coin, okay? Major coin. And around this time, I was dating this dude. And we was going through a messy breakup. Not true enough. I was going back and forth between him and my baby daddy. Yes, I was. But in my defense, if y'all knew what this nigga had done did to me, y'all would have been scratching drag his ass, sis. And that's just what I was doing. Dragging him. And when I tell y'all this situation was messy and toxic, everywhere they seen each other, they would fight. At the gas station, at the gambling house, if they ran into each other at church, it was on sight. And I used to be right there screaming, whoop his ass, whoop his ass. But I don't really know who I'm rooting for, because I'm thinking about all the stuff that both these niggas done did to me. And at this point, I just want somebody to get whooped. Okay, so one day I'm at home, I'm laid up with my baby daddy, and I get a phone call. It's one of my homegirls. And she like, Red, the gambling house just got shot up, and old boy was there, the dude that I'm going through the breakup with. So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Is he unalived? And she was like, no, but 2 people got shot. So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But hey, that ain't got nothing to do with me, shit. So I hang out with her, I roll over, lay back down and get comfortable. Because this is my day off, baby. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? But about 45 minutes later, my phone rang. I look at it, it's an unknown number. I send it a voicemail immediately. You feel me? Because I screen phone calls. I don't know about y'all. And then the number calls right back. So I'm like, dang, who is this? So I answer the phone and I put my hello. And they like, this is Detective so-and-so from the police department. Can I speak to so-and-so? So I'm like, this her? What's up? So I'm looking at the phone crazy. Like, what's up? What you want with me? So he was like, we wondering if you could come in and sit down and have a conversation with us. So I'm like, conversation about what? So it was like something about an incident that just occurred. We would just like to talk to you for a moment if you have some time. So I was like, well, I don't know when I'm gonna have some time, but I'll get back with you and I'll let you know when I can come in. I hang up the phone and I look at my baby daddy and I'm like, that was the police department. And he said, police department? For what? And about that time, his phone rung. Same number. He's scared. He don't want to answer the phone. But I'm screaming, answer the phone, answer the phone. So he answered the phone, and it's Detective so-and-so from the police department. Can I speak to so-and-so? So he like, yeah, this me. How can I help you? He hit him with the same line he hit me with. Can you come in? We need to talk to you. So my baby daddy give him some about he got to go pick his kids up or something like that. And I'm thinking, pick your kids up, your kid in their sleep. But okay, cool. Tell him what you want to tell him. So he hang up the phone. I'm looking at him. He looking at me. We both looking stupid. You feel me? So I'm like, you know what? Let's just go down there because it's better for us if we go down there than if they catch us on the street. So we both get up and we get ready. We put on our all white. Because if you know about going to jail with your all white on. So we get down to the police station and they separate us. They put us in 2 different interrogation rooms. And when he come in, he's like, hey, I'm Detective so-and-so. I spoke to you on the phone earlier. I just wanted to talk to you because you are a person of interest in an attempted murder, y'all. Attempted murder? Baby, when I tell y'all my heart dropped to the floor and rolled out the damn room, baby. And I'm gonna cut it right there, and y'all gonna have to come back for part 2. Okay, y'all, so I got this question a lot today about what it means when you wear white when you go to jail. So if you have on like white underwear, white socks, tank tops and stuff like that, they will let you keep your white stuff. But if you have on anything with like color in it, like some black panties or something like that, you have to take those off and they will give you panties. Like you gotta buy socks and stuff like that off Canteen, but they'll let you keep your panties and your tank tops and stuff like that if you have on white. So anytime I've ever surrendered myself to go to jail, I always make sure I have on like 2 or 3 pairs of panties, tank tops, a white bra, without no underwire in it, like a white sports bra, and some white socks and stuff like that. So I could just at least be comfortable with my own stuff on since I'm gonna be in jail, you know?
Let's just give thanks that she is still here to tell this story. Because being shot 5 times while 18 weeks pregnant, That is nothing but God, okay? That is a miracle. But let's get into the tea, because this situation is messy. The fact that she had her ex and her baby daddy fighting everywhere they saw each other, the gas station, the gambling house, and the church, that is too much drama. And you know, when the police call you and the person you're with back to back, it's a wrap. That stomach drop feeling she described, I felt that for her. And I had to laugh a little bit at them putting on the all-white outfits to go to the station. She knew exactly what time it was. But for them to walk in there thinking they were just going to have a little chat and then get hit with attempted murder? Baby, I would have passed out right there in the interrogation room. I am completely invested now. I need to know how the best friend set her up, because she left us on a serious cliffhanger. Where is part 2?
So this girl came up to my boyfriend at Ulta the other day. So the other day, I'm on my period. I'm feeling emotional. I'm just like feeling, like, bleh. And so my boyfriend was like, why don't we walk around Ulta and like, you can like look at some fun makeup. We can like smell the perfumes and shit. And I'm like, awesome. Sounds great. So we're walking around Ulta. He's smelling some like colognes and I'm smelling perfumes like in the same vicinity. We're all, like both in that area together. And I noticed this girl who like keeps looking over at him, and he is oblivious. Like when I'm telling you, he lives in his own world, and he looks at his stuff and me. That's it. That's all he's ever aware of, is what he's smelling and me. That's it. Okay? So but I don't think anything of it. I'm like, I'm being paranoid. I'm just being like, I'm being crazy because I was on my period. So I'm like, I'm just being like cuckoo. But I like keep going and smelling other things and going back and forth because I'm just like having a good time. And so I smell the Billie Eilish perfume and I like bring it over to my boyfriend. I'm like, oh my God, smell this. I'm like, oh my God, it smells so good. Not me, actually, not for you. It smells so good. So it did smell so good. And he's like, oh baby, that's awesome. Like blah, blah, blah. We're very obviously holding hands, like sort of PDA, saying baby, like, kisses, like whatever. It's very obvious. Well, I don't even move to another aisle at this point. I literally go to throw away my little sample paper in the trash can that's right next to my foot. So I don't move. I literally just bend down. Okay. And as I'm doing that, this girl sees that I'm not looking anymore, even though I am, because I'm like, and she walks up to him, holds out her like little scent thing to his nose, and she goes, do you like the smell of this? Can you tell me if you like the smell of this? Sorry? Because I thought it was a universal unspoken rule that like anything about coming up to the opposite sex and being like, hey, I love how you smell. Wow, what's that? Blah, blah, blah. That's like, hey, I'm trying to hit on you. And so she comes up to him and she's like, oh, do you like the smell of this? And he, I mean, without even hesitation, she doesn't even get to his nose. And he backs up and he's like, I don't know how to smell. He's like, you should ask my girlfriend what she thinks of it. And he backs up and he's like, I don't know. Cause like, he's like, ma'am, you don't know that you're messing with your life today. And you don't know how crazy she is. And like, we would like to still be welcome in this Ulta. So like, but he's like, I don't know how to smell. So ask my girlfriend what she thinks. And so I walk up to her and I'm like, and she's like smelling me or smelling Burberry her. And I'm like, yeah, that one doesn't smell good. You should smell this one. And she's like, oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I thought. Like, I would just like ask. And she's looking at me with fear in her eyes. I'm like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? But she's like, yeah, that's what I thought. I just like, oh, I'll ask this girl over here, like what she thinks. And I said, but you didn't ask me, did you? I said, there's a really good smelling one over there. And like pointed at an aisle that was like far away. I said, over there. Okay. Because I was like, if I let all of my anger out, I'm going to kill her. But what the fuck was that? Genuinely, what the fuck was that? And so like she walks away. I'm like, what was her objective here? Like, it was so odd. There was no like, oh, did she think he was his sister? Did she think he was, blah, blah. No. And she waited until I was turned away, even though I was fucking secretly looking because I'm crazy. So I don't know. That was wild. I thought that was so audacious. I said, girl, what the fuck are you doing? It was so weird. And then Finally, when she went away and we started walking around the store a little bit, she would like come and follow him and like walk around him. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? So yeah, I decided to wait to tell that story until I was off my period. So I hope you all enjoyed it. And you should be proud of me for not hurting someone. Okay, have a great day.
Okay, story time, but this is probably the most embarrassing experience of my life. I don't think I've ever admitted it out loud. Just told my best friend today, like just today, and she thought it was absolutely hilarious, and she told me to post a story time. So I started self-exploring pretty early in life. I didn't know anything about it. I feel like that's normal for a lot of girls. Literally had no idea. If you know, you know. I ended up popping my own cherry. Once again, if you know, you know. I did not know what that was. I was terrified. I was like, I'm dying. I'm done for. This is it. This is it for me. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm gonna die and my family's gonna find out and they're gonna know why I died. I've never been so mortified and ashamed in my life, right? I'm taking this so seriously. I'm going through my whole phone. I'm clearing anything my family could possibly find. Not like bad stuff, but like my friends' messages, anything to do with like social media, because I wasn't allowed to have it at the time. So anyways, I was ready to die. I started stealing my mom's panty liners when I realized I wasn't dying, because I was like, oh, well, can't find that, you know, can't see that, can't get that anywhere. I'm stealing these. Well, the next morning, she notices, and she's like, why are you taking these? Did you start your period? And I knew that I could not tell her that I started my period, because obviously she would know that I didn't. I was a very late bloomer in life, so I didn't start my period till very late. So I knew she would know I was lying. So I was like, crap, I can't use that excuse. So I look at this woman dead in her eyes, dead in my mom's eyes, and I go, wait, I can't say this. I don't know if I can admit this guy. Okay. I look at her and I go, I've been pooping my pants. She goes, what? And I said, I've been pooping my pants. She was like, why? Why? And I was like, I don't know. I can't control it. It's just happening. Like, I ran with it. I went with the lie. I was like, I can't back down now. We gotta push through. So then I was like, I don't know. She was like, it's just happening. And I was like, yeah. She was like, just a little bit? And I was like, yeah, just a little bit. I don't know. And she was like, that's not normal. Do you want to go see a doctor? And I was like, no. And she was like, are you sick? And I was like, maybe. She was like, okay. And that was it. We never spoke of it again. She asked me like every couple days after that. She was like, is your belly feeling better? And I was like, yeah. My mom still thinks I was just walking around like shitting myself or something. I will never. I would die. I would die if they knew. She even told my dad. She was like, yeah, Betsy's been pooping her pants. I don't know. And for some reason, I thought that was better. For some reason, I was like, this is gold, perfect excuse.
It is a crying shame she didn't know what was happening to her own body. Thinking you are literally dying when you are just figuring things out is tragic. But we have got to talk about this panic response. I mean, the panic took the wheel and drove her straight off a cliff. You look your mother in the eye, dead in her face, and tell her you are boo-booing on yourself? And then you stick to the lie? No, ma'am, that is not the way. And then to let your mama go and tell your daddy? I would have packed my bags and moved to another state right then and there. The fact that she really sat there and thought being known as the pants pooper of the household was better than admitting she was exploring her body just shows you how terrified she was. But Lord have mercy, that is a legacy you do not want in your family house. She is stronger than me because I could not have faced them at the dinner table after that.
Yo, I was a masochist in middle school. I was fully in love with my bully. I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know if it was self-esteem. I don't know. I read too many books, y'all. I'm thinking we popular boy, nerdy girl trope. I'm thinking we enemies to lover. That's my man. I'm gonna stick beside him. Meanwhile, he don't want to be nowhere near me. And he was light-skinned. That's the last light-skinned man I will ever love. We got an acronym for light-skins over here. It's called LISTEN. Light-skins is Satan targeting Earth. Nick. But no, for real, if y'all wanted a look into our daily interactions, it'll be something like, he says, "Shut up, you African bee." And then I'm like, "I'm your bee. Do you mean it?" I'm joking. Of course I didn't respond like that. But like, he would say stuff like that and that did not faze me. I'm just like, oh well. But that man was terrible to me from the moment he found out I liked him. I don't know why. Like, I was annoying in middle school, but not that annoying. Like, I remember this one time he took my phone. I'm thinking we doing the little, "Give me my phone back. Get it. Stop." But no, like, he took my SIM card out, snapped it, then threw it in the pond by school. Guess what? I stuck beside him. Okay, maybe I'm downplaying how annoying I was, but at the same time, like, he was doing it at first, you know what I'm saying? Like, one time we were in the middle of class and I smacked the mess out of him, like, slap. And he got really angry at me, so we started fighting, like full-fledged fighting in the middle of class. But at the same time, baby, that was a love tap. I'm thinking we flirting. Like, I'm thinking this is play fighting. Even though I did just slap you full force, I'm thinking... But I don't know, we did have that enemies back and forth, and I love that. Whole time he hates me. Like, I remember this one time we were leaving Spanish class to go to the cafeteria. He splashed a bunch of water on me, like, so my whole front was wet. And I was like, all right, bet. We got into the cafeteria. I took a whole thing of milk and I dumped it on his head. And when I wasn't looking, him and his friend took my book bag, opened it, and poured a whole thing of milk in there. And then he got in-school suspension because he got caught, but I did not. And after all that, I wrote him a letter while he was incarcerated during next period. Y'all think I'm joking? Look. Funny enough, my nickname for him was Milk. That's how light-skinned he was. But here's a dramatic reading of some of the letter. "Dear Milk, I know..." Oh my God, I cannot write! "Dear Milk, I know ever since you've been locked up, it's been hard to communicate, but it's okay. I've been holding it down. The lonely days have been a struggle, but I know you with me in spirit. You might be mad because I'm the reason you in there, but forget all that. And also, I'm mad at you because my stuff still smell like dairy. That's nasty. Anyways, until next time. Bye." So, was I a little crazy? Yes. But at the same time, I'm also joking. Like, that's just how I am. You know what I'm saying? But no, y'all, that man put me through, like, hell and back. I'm not gonna lie. I remember one time, I came to school with these crochet twists. Hold on, photo. I came to school looking like this. And I'm gonna keep this in y'all head so y'all can have the memory. This is not 2016. This is 2019. So, I can't even get away with this. You know what I'm saying? So, I walk into first period. All the boys see me in class and they laugh, especially my crush. She's the one laughing the hardest. Then when the teacher not looking around and we having like our little talking time, why they try to pick me up, flip me over, and use me as a mop? What did I do to you?
Story time about how I got touched at a wedding. So this was during a family friend's reception. I think me and my cousin had gone. I'm not really sure if my parents were there. It was so traumatic, like my brain has completely blocked it out. So me and my cousin were at this family friend's reception, and I'm a minor. I think I'm like 13, maybe 14. I don't know. I don't really remember. So at this reception, there was this one guy that nobody was fucking with, okay? We're gonna call him Anmol, okay? Anmol was all up on the girls, real touchy, and hella drunk. So I'm sitting at this table near the dance floor all by myself, okay? And across the room, I see Anmol and his group of friends. So I'm sitting here and I see one of Anmol's friends start walking towards me, okay? He sits down next to me and he's like, "Yo, my friend over there," and he points to Anmol and he's like, "He thinks you're so pretty, like he really likes you and he wants to get to know you." So obviously I'm like, "Whoa, like no, like I'm a minor, like, you know, like I'm like this old." And he's like, "Oh, like him too." I was like, "Bro, that is not a minor. You see the way he's holding that alcohol? Like, that is not a minor. Don't lie to me, okay?" He's like, just kidding, sorry, you looked a lot older, that's why I came up to you, like, sorry about that." I'm like, "It's okay," and then he leaves, you know, we're good. So after a while, I wanted to get some flicks for the gram, so I go up to my cousin, I'm like, "Hey, like, can you take pictures of me?" She's like, "Yeah, I got you." So I'm like, okay. I walk outside, you know, I'm waiting for my cousin to come. Lord behold, I see Anmol walking out with this friend that tried to put me on. So already I'm like uncomfortable. I'm like, where's my cousin? Like, let me out. And Anmol's like, "Yo, I saw the way you dance. Like, you dance really good. Like, big fan." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. drinking, you know. I'm praying that my cousin comes out any second because I'm so uncomfortable. I'm like kind of backing up, like, you know, while he's talking, but this kid is inching closer. I'm like, damn. Then he's like, oh, like, let's get a picture. And I was like, yeah, why not? I was like, what's the harm in getting a picture? Like, yeah, let's take a picture. Stupid. I was stupid. He hands the phone to his friend and he comes over to my side. And I'm like, I'm posing to the side and I'm leaving this gap between us for a reason. But clearly, Anmol didn't get the freaking hint. So then we're posing for the picture and he goes to pull me in close. So he grabs me and he pulls me and I'm like, and I'm like, I do like a little awkward laugh and I'm like, you know, I pose. Then he got too comfortable, way too comfortable. He goes in for, I shit you not, he goes in for a full booyah grab. I was like, so I push him and he's like, what? And I slap the shit out of him, okay? His friend is behind the camera like this. So he's on the floor, okay, and I'm cussing him out, and I'm like, you're so weird, like, what the fuck? And he's like, bro, you're so dramatic. I was so mad, but so scared, like, I was everything at once, okay? His friend had a drink in his hand. I grabbed the drink, and I threw it in his face, and I was like, fuck you. And he's like, oh, you're so dramatic. I was like, whatever. I was like, I'm not staying here. So I walk inside, I sit down on the table, and I'm like, I'm about to cry, because I'm like, what did I just, like, experience? My cousin, she comes up to me and she goes, girl, let's go get that picture you wanted. And I was like, nope, I am never in my life ever taking a picture ever again.
13 or 14 years old, and this grown, drunk man is pressing up on you? No, ma'am. And don't even get me started on his friend trying to play in your face talking about he's 2'2". They knew exactly what they were doing, trying to see if you were young and naive enough to fall for it. But let me tell you this, I am so proud you stood your ground. When he tried it, and he really tried it with that grab, you did exactly what needed to be done. That slap, necessary. Throwing that drink, deserved. The fact that he had the nerve to stand there and call you dramatic after he assaulted you, that is classic gaslighting. He was trying to make you feel crazy because he got caught and embarrassed. You weren't being dramatic. You were protecting yourself. It breaks my heart you were out there by yourself when it went down, but you handled business. Don't you ever let anybody tell you that defending your body is drama. You did good.
I fear I have a story time that's been brewing for years now, and I'm finally ready to tell it because this was the most insane first date I have ever gone on. So we'll start off. I matched with Homeboy on Hinge probably like 2.5 years ago. Yeah, he looked pretty fine. His profile was cool. He's like an anime illustrator and all of that. We had great conversation. He invited me out to a cabaret. One thing about me is I love the idea of a cabaret, never been to a cabaret. So the fact that he invited me to one, I was like, take my money. I'll pay for my ticket. Take me to the cabaret. I would love to see a cabaret in person. Fast forward to the date. He tells me where to meet him. I meet him there. I get there and I cannot find this man. And then I see someone that kind of resembles him, but I'm like, that's not him. Because in his profile pictures, he had a full-on beard. And this doesn't even look like a man. Turns out that was him. He shaved the beard off. Word of advice, if your pictures have you in only a beard, show up to the date with your beard. Maybe. Nonetheless, I get there. I'm dressed like a grown woman and he's dressed normal, but the beard being gone, he just looks like a 15-year-old boy and I look like a grown woman. I look like I'm grooming this man, even though he's older than me. I digress. We get there. He's like, oh, I didn't realize I needed tickets for this thing. So we are going to be in general admission line. I don't mind standing in line. That didn't bother me. I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, let's just stand in line and wait. I have like social anxiety a little bit. So I don't like when people know that I'm on a first date. But this man is talking so loud. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe we're on our first date. I'm so excited to be on our first date. And people are looking at us and I'm just like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. Finally, we get inside. We go to the bar. He's like, oh, do you want a drink? And I'm like, yeah. Can I get an espresso martini with tequila?
He gets me my espresso martini. He gets himself a drink. Did not hear what he ordered. We cheers. We're drinking, yada, yada. We both finish our drink. He asks me if I want another one. And I'm like, yeah, why not? So he gets me another one, and he gets himself an espresso martini with tequila as well. The drink he had before was more like I want to say like mango-y, or it was orange colored. So it was fruity. That's not a bad thing though. So he goes to go take a sip of his espresso martini, and this man looks like he's in pain. Dire pain. I was like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I don't really drink. And I was like, so why'd you get an espresso martini? What did you drink before? He was like, oh, that was a mocktail. I was like, so why didn't you get another mocktail? He's like, because you're drinking. And I was like, listen, buddy, no peer pressure here. If you don't drink, you don't drink. You do not have to drink because I'm drinking. That's not going to bother me. If you want to have a mocktail, or even if you just want a glass of juice, drink your glass of juice. I'm happy in my espresso martini. But don't put yourself through this pain if you don't want to. And he's like, okay, you want the rest? So he gives me the rest of his espresso martini. Cabaret's good and well, whatever. We leave. He's like, are you hungry? I'm like, oh, yeah, actually. Let's go get food. So we go to dinner. We're sitting at dinner. Dinner is fine. It's towards the end of dinner that we're talking, and I'm telling him, like, I forget what story I'm telling him, but I'm telling him a story. And as you can tell from this story, I use my hands to talk. And homeboy, as I'm talking, he's like, and reaches for my hands and like clasps my hands. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just wanted to hold hands while we talk. And I was like, I'm using them. He's like, oh, but I just thought it would be romantic. I was like, I get it. But like, I'm literally telling you a story with my hands. I don't want to do that. And he's like, okay. So then the restaurant is closing. The waiter comes over to give us the bill, basically. He gives him the bill. And as he gives him the bill, he goes to reach out of his pocket to get his wallet. And I don't know if these were thoughts that were supposed to happen in here, but they were happening out here. He goes, I hope I have enough. I hope I have enough. I hope I have enough. And I'm sitting there like this. I'm looking at the waiter. The waiter's looking at me. And I'm just like, I might need to pull out my wallet. Gives the man his credit card. Thank God the man had enough. He's like, oh, do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, actually, I think it's time for me to go home. He's like, can I walk you to the train? Train's like 15 minutes away. Yeah, sure, why not? Walk me to the train. So we start walking to the train, and he's like, I have a question to ask you. And I'm like, sure, what's up? He's like, I'm just a little too embarrassed to ask you this question. And I was like, what do you mean? Just ask the question. And he's like, can I kiss you? And I was like, no. He's like, oh, okay. So we keep walking, we're talking, yada, yada. Then at this point, I really need to use the bathroom. So we're walking by a bar, and I'm like, it's either I go into this bar and use the bathroom now, or I get on the train and have to hold it for like an hour before I get home. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to this bar. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to run in there so I can use the bathroom. He's like, okay. So I run in. There's 2 bathrooms. I don't know if this part of the story is relevant, but there's 2 bathrooms. I go into one. The other one is open. He doesn't go in. I come out of the bathroom, and he goes into the bathroom that I was in. I was like, there was a whole second bathroom you could have used. But while he's using the bathroom, I'm like, I can't believe this is what's happening right now. So let me just grab another drink. So I get another drink, and I'm going to down it pretty quickly. And I'm signing to pay for my drink. He comes out, and they're like playing jazz music. And all of a sudden, in the corner of my eye, as I'm like this, signing my check, I see in the corner of my eye, this. Like, he is breakdancing in a jazz club. I was like, this cannot be real. So I chug my drink, and I'm like, okay, let's go. We're like 2 minutes from the train now. He says, oh, can I kiss you on the cheek? No, before that, he asked me, he's like, can I ask you another question? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, no, I'm too embarrassed. I don't want to ask. And I'm like, man, if you don't ask this damn question. He's like, it's the same question as before. Can I kiss you? And I was like, no. The answer is still no. And he was like, can I kiss you on the cheek? And I was like, you know what? Fine. Kiss me on the cheek. I lied. Something happened before that. He asked if he could hold my hand, and I already felt bad for the guy, so I was like, yeah, go ahead. Hold my hand. We don't even like interlock fingers. We hold our hands like this, like friends hold hands. And as soon as our hands clasp, he goes with the other hand. I said, oh, Am I this man's first bad bitch? Never be a man's first bad bitch. Anyways, so then fast forward, that thing happens where he asks about the kiss, and then he asks to kiss me on the cheek, and I say, yes, you can kiss me on the cheek, because we're at the train now, and it's time for me to go home. And I, like, turn my cheek so he can plant one right there, and he, like, swivels his head to go kiss me on the lips, and what are you doing? He goes, and I quote, I thought you'd be drunk enough that you wouldn't care. I looked at him in such distress, disgust, and fear. And I said, you should probably never say that to a woman again. And at this moment, I'm getting on that train and leaving. Please don't get on the train with me. I don't care if we're going in the same direction. Wait for the next train. Never speak to me again. And I proceeded to get on the train and go home. So that was my horror story of a first date, like 2.5 years ago. I did run into him at like a street festival, and I saw him and I was like, oh my God, I have to act like I don't see him. And I was looking at waist beads, and he came up and he's like, Carly, hey, Carly. And I just ignored him like my life depended on it, because it did. I ignored the shit out of him until he walked away. And I was just like, and then my friend came over and I was like, oh my God, that was him. And that was the day that I realized I'm just too nice to men, even when they make me uncomfortable. And that needed to change. The year is 2014. I'm 17 years old, a month shy of 18, moving from Rhode Island and Massachusetts to the Big Apple from a very strict, sheltered household where me and my sisters were on lock. My parents and my sisters have officially driven out of New York. They've crossed the border. I'm officially alone in New York City as a 17-year-old, ready to take on my freedom. I made a couple friends during orientation, and I also made a couple friends within the first day of being at the dorms. So in total, there were 6 of us. There was Amy, that's what we're going to call her for this story. She is the one who has her own apartment in Queens. Then there's the rest of us who are living in the dorms at this point. Amy invites us all to this party that's happening in Queens, and then in addition to that, she invites us over to her apartment so that we could pregame. I ain't never pregame, so I was like, I'm ready. I also didn't have a fake ID, so I didn't know how I was getting into this club, but I got in. Nonetheless, we go over to Amy's house. We're at her apartment. We're having a good time pre-gaming. She introduces us to halal food. That was my first time having halal. I got lamb over rice. That shit was so fucking good. Obsessed for the rest of my life. Except for when, I stopped eating meat. But that's besides the point. Anyways, we go. We get food. We're chilling. We're at her apartment. We're pre-gaming. We are ready to go at 10 p.m. It's time to head to the party. We get to the party and we're having a great time. It is a blast. We're getting drinks left and right. We're tipsy. We're getting drunk and la 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 la. Then Amy finds the group and she huddles us all together. And she's like, hey guys, homeboy right there, I got a history with him. And we want to mingle a little bit. Is it cool with y'all if I leave and go to his spot? And we're like, yeah, you could leave, but what about our stuff? Because we left all of our stuff at your apartment. And she's like, no, cool. We'll coordinate. Call me when you guys are done here. And then we'll meet up at my apartment so you guys can get your stuff. And we're like, perfect. So Amy leaves, we stay. By the time the party's done, it's 4 a.m. 2014 is also the time where all of the subway apps, City Mapper and things like that were out, and they were kind of startups. So they weren't very accurate, but in addition to the inaccuracy was also user error, mainly user error. So we get on the train and we're going to her apartment. Her apartment is on 81st Street in Queens. We know the address. I'm not giving you the address, but just so you know, the street number is 81st Street. I don't remember what train we got on to go there, but all I remember is that the app told us to get on, it told us to get on the A train, and then it told us to get off at Atlantic Barclays, and then told us to get on like the F train and get off at whatever street, and then walk to her apartment like 10 minutes. And that was the plan. But then, and I don't remember exactly who in the group, it honestly could have been me, but somebody suggested, because you know how the train has all of the train stops, it shows you all of the train stops that this train is going to make. So say we're on the A train, it says that it's going to stop in Queens on 81st Street. So some smart aleck, probably me, was like, why would we get off the train at Atlantic and Barclays Center? That don't make no sense. This train is literally going to the street we need to go to. Let's just stay on this train for 26 stops straight. And that's what we did. And if you know, you know. That's just not how the train and stops and things work here in New York. Yeah, I'm going to be on 86th Street, but I ain't going to be where I need to be. And exactly that happened. We were not where we needed to be. We got off the train, and yes, we were on 86th Street. In fact, we were on her street. We were in Queens. We were on 81st Street. We were there. But baby, when we looked up her address so we could start walking, we were an hour and a half away from her by foot. By foot. An hour and a half? So now we're pissed because we did this to ourselves. But also, we're trying to get in contact with her now. We're calling her phone. We're blowing up her phone. It's probably like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we are blowing up this girl's phone, and she's not answering. I don't know if she's getting her back blown out. I don't know if she's knocked out. I don't know if she got kidnapped. We don't know nothing. And again, I'm coming from a sheltered home, so like we come together, we leave together, hadn't been like a philosophy in my head because I never went together anywhere. So there was nowhere to leave together. But boy, did I learn my lesson that day. So we're walking and we're like, no, we can't keep walking. We're not walking for an hour and a half. We need to get in touch with her. Finally, between the 5 of us blowing up her phone, she answers somebody. And that somebody goes off on Amy. Okay? Off. And the person's going off because all of our stuff are at Amy's house. We agreed that we were going to meet up after the party. She knew the party ended at 4. So like the fact that you fell asleep or did whatever you did and weren't answering our calls, that's a little crazy. But yeah, so homegirl's going off on her. She's like, yo, my EpiPen is at your house. Our food is at your house. We don't know where the fuck we're going. We don't know how to get the fuck home. Like, none of that. At the end of the day, you need to come meet us now because we're done trying to travel to you. And she's apologetic. And she's like, all right, I'll meet you guys. Where do you want me to meet you guys? And we ask her to meet us at Atlantic Barclays Center. When we meet her at Atlantic Barclays Center, it's around 6:30 in the morning. And we are livid. She pulls up in her PJs. We are still dressed like we went to a party. And everyone around us is on their way to either work or run a fucking marathon. Literally, I remember seeing the bibs. They're on their way to run a marathon. This was Sunday going into Monday. So this is Monday morning. We didn't have class yet. So clearly that didn't matter. So essentially, for the rest of our college career, we really didn't speak to Amy again. Like, in passing, yeah, but we ain't hanging out with you, girl. You done put us through enough. Granted, some of it was our own fault. I can recognize that now that I'm 29 years old. But at the moment, in that moment, we were pissed at Amy, and it was all Amy's fault. From Atlantic Barclays Center, we headed back to our dorm. I remember walking into my dorm at 8 a.m. And if you remember, in the beginning, I said I come from a very sheltered and strict household where we were on lock. So I was fucking scared shitless to walk into my dorm room, dorm apartment, dorm building at 8 a.m. I was convinced that these security guards were going to go off on me and like reprimand me and then call my mom and dad and tell them about what I've done. So imagine my surprise when I swiped my little ID card, got in, no one said anything, got to my dorm, and I was like, I'm safe. And the thing that sucked about that was that same morning or that same Monday, I had a date scheduled for 1 p.m. and my body only allowed me to sleep until 10:30. I could not sleep anymore. And I went on that date. And yeah, just wasn't, yeah. And that catapulted me into my amazing 4 years in New York City. I've been here more than 4 years, but I mean like college career-wise, amazing 4 years. And yeah, what a time.
I was stressing just listening to this mess. First of all, we need to have a serious conversation about Amy. Because who in their right mind invites a bunch of 17-year-olds fresh out of a sheltered house to the big city, takes them to a party, and then leaves them stranded to go chase behind some man? That is the ultimate betrayal right there. She knew y'all didn't know your way around Queens. And then to pop up at 6:30 in the morning, comfortable in her PJs, while y'all have been wandering the streets fighting for your lives? The audacity is truly unmatched. And baby, that subway struggle is a real rite of passage, because that 81st Street confusion happens to the best of us. But walking for an hour and a half in the dead of night, I would have been crying real tears. I was holding my breath when you walked past that security guard at 8 a.m., thinking for sure he was going to call your parents and blow the whole operation. So thank God you slid through with that swipe. But the part that really took me out was you still going on that date at 1 p.m. with zero sleep. That is dedication to the plot, honey. You survived the night, learned a hard lesson about friends like Amy, and still made it to your date. You are built for New York, period.
Get ready with me while I tell you why I think my mom's boyfriend is a serial. So I want to start the story off by saying that my mom is 43 and her boyfriend, he's like 63 or 67. So already weird, but they met, I'm pretty sure, on Facebook. Like, he DM'd her. But whatever, age gaps are becoming more normal now, I feel like, so. But from the start, he lied about, like, everything. I guess the boy thing. Like, he told her he was only, like, 58, and he's actually, like, 63 or 67. He also told her he got his money from being the owner of a gas station, when she later found out that's not true either. And then something happened that, what do you expect? She found out that while they were dating, he was messaging and meeting up with his ex. I'm pretty sure his ex-wife. He also has 0 kids, but was married for, like, so many years. But basically how she caught him cheating was he said he went to this restaurant, and so she called the restaurant and asked, like, if he was there. They told her that he wasn't there. And then she checked his receipt when he was home, and it was, like, dinner for, like, 2 people at a different restaurant. My mom is just like me. Like, we will find out literally everything. I'm actually gonna let you know a little secret. My mom actually didn't even call the restaurant. She just pretended she did and then told him that she did. But he fell for it. And then he ended up admitting that he was out with his ex. But she, like, stayed after that because she is also like me. And they're still together currently, like, on and off and stuff. But they're, like, about to get, like, married, like, engaged. I'm like... But anyway, so my mom takes care of his mother. That's all, like, old there. It started off subtle, but, like, when he would be there visiting his mom and my mom would be there taking care of her, his mom, like, would drop hints every time he, like, left the room. Like, the one time he went out to get something from my mom's car, and then his mom told my mom and was like, go look out the window. And then she was like, check your car, check your key. So I'm, like, pretty sure he was putting trackers on her
And he also stole her key. He won't admit to it, but it like suddenly disappeared. And he can like get into places when no one lets him in. I feel like he made a copy of her key without her knowing. But it gets weirder. So my mom would be home alone, and this guy has like insane trust issues, but he's also the cheater. It's always the cheaters that don't fucking trust you. Like, my mom would be on the phone with him, and he'd literally just be flirting with another girl, like, on the phone with my mom, and he's flirting with another girl. But one time he said that he was, like, going somewhere, and then my mom found out that he wasn't there where he said he was, and so then he, like, kept trying to lie, but then he ended up telling my mom that he was just embarrassed to tell her that he was sitting outside of my mom's house watching her. What? He was like, I thought you were cheating on me. I was just embarrassed to tell you. I was just like sitting out here watching. I thought you were cheating on me. Like, literally told her that he was sitting outside her house watching her house. So all that stuff's like weird on its own, but it gets worse. So my mom would be at his house, and there's this one door in his house that is locked, and my mom's like asked him about it before, and he will refuse to unlock it. He will refuse to show her. He just tries to brush it off and say like it's nothing. And also when they were laying in bed one time, he like opened his nightstand drawer, and my mom saw that he had a pew-pew, and she was like, do you have a pew-pew? And he was like, yeah, it's nothing and stuff. But this door in his house is locked, and my mom, anytime she'd get close to it, he would start freaking out. But then this is the part that really makes me think this. Oh, also, he's like super controlling. Like when we'd be on the phone, they'd be on the phone and I would be at my mom's house, he would get so mad that I'm there. Like, one time he came over, saw that I was there, looked at my mom and was like, well, I didn't know she was here. Like, I'm her daughter? Or I got my mom flowers for Mother's Day, and he came over and he was like, whose are those flowers? Whose are those? I did not get you those. What are those? What are those? And my mom's like, honey, like, those are just the flowers that Allie got me for Mother's Day. Like, calm down, honey. She always talks to him like a fucking baby, and he's crazy. And he was like, And then he had flowers, but my mom was busy, like, cooking or something, and all her hands were full. And he, like, freaked out. He's like, okay, yep, I'm gonna go give these flowers to somebody else. And then he, like, tried to leave. Like, my mom is clearly busy. Maybe you can help instead of being a jerk. But just, like, stuff like that. And then I, like, turned the porch light on, and like, on accident instead of, like, the inside one. And then I, like, must have forgot to turn it off because I didn't realize it turned on because I wasn't outside. And he's like, why is this light on? Why is this light on? Why is this light on, Erin? That's my mom's name, Erin. And she's like, I don't even know. Because it wasn't even her. Of course she doesn't know. She's like, I don't know. I must have turned it on accident. No, it was me. I actually turned it on accident. He's just fucking crazy. And he would always, like, there would be, like, a freaking, like, 17-year-old guy worker at the store, and he'd be restocking stuff, and my mom's boyfriend would grab her and, like, hold her and, like, stare. Like, this 17-year-old boy does not want my 43-year-old mother. It was so cringy. Every time I was with him in public, I wanted to go home. But anyway, here's, like, the most insane part. So one day while my mom was home at his house by herself, and he was out doing God knows what, she went down into his basement and was looking around in there, probably because she just had a feeling. She, like, told me she had a feeling. She's literally just like me. And our intuition is never wrong. So she's going through all this stuff, and suddenly she sees, like, a bunch of, like, notebooks and stuff. So she opens it, and it's a list of a bunch of girls' names, like their full names, their weights, their heights, their kids, their interests, what they do, what they look like, a description of them. And at this point, my mom is shaking. She took a picture of all these, by the way. And my mom is shaking. She's so scared. In the pictures, it's literally, like, so blurry because of how much she's shaking. And, like, what if he comes home and sees this? But then suddenly she flips the page, and it's her own name. It's her full government name, it's her weight, it's her height, it's her eye color, it's her kids' names, it's literally where she lives, her job, everything about her. So she's like freaking out at this point, as anybody would be. But she hurried and she put everything back, and because he was getting home, so she put everything back. She put upstairs, she ran upstairs, shut the door. But when he got home, she was obviously scared and stuff, but I think she took him to her house, so like if he like, you know, did anything, like she wouldn't be alone at his house. But she confronted him. She's like, why is my name on this? Like, what is all this? And then he's like, that's a different Aaron. Like, that's not you. And she's like, it literally says my 3 kids' names. And then I don't even know what he said after that. He like tried to like just make excuses and stuff. I don't even know. I think he knows he got caught. I don't know, but let me know what you guys think. I think my mom's gonna be the next victim. And he's like, he'll also make empty promises, and he'll be like, I'm gonna buy you this Jeep, I'm gonna buy you this house, I'm gonna get you this ring. He's not done a single one of those things. The most he's bought her is perfume and flowers and teddy bears. He's like all talk. And how are you 67 and single but been married like 3 times? That's a big red flag. And he already cheated and everything else. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think, because I think my mom's gonna be next. Oh yeah, he's also trying to get my mom to get her tubes untied and have a kid with him. I don't think my mom should do that. Okay, I finally have an update on my mom's boyfriend for you guys. So, I found out his age. It was 63. I asked my mom. Unless he's like still lying. So basically, I took your guys' advice. Me and my mom took your guys' advice. I showed her the video. She was like, Eileen, what have you got me into? She read all your guys' comments telling her to leave. She has not left though, unfortunately. But she sees them. But we did take your guys' advice and we stole the notebook. She stole the notebook a couple days ago. And we did look up some of the names. And she has been hiding the notebook in different spots around her house because he comes over and she doesn't want it to be in the same spot, you know. The only thing is, we have searched high and low and we lost the notebook. Or he took it. I don't know. But I'll insert the text messages between me and my mom. Basically, she's like kind of freaking out because the notebook's not where she put it. So we don't know if he like found it or... Another weird thing is, a couple days after I posted that video, and then like this same night that I told my mom about the video, she texted me this. She said, he just called me randomly talking about serial killers, like he has my phone bugged, LOL. Like what? Oh yeah, also guys, he does not have fingerprints, by the way. I think they got like burned off or something, I don't know. But the only pictures that she could find that she took of the notebook, I'm going to insert them, but she could only find 2 because we can't find the freaking notebook. So this is the first screenshot. My mom's name and middle name. I don't know what all that is at the top. Her son, labeled son, my brother. Me, spelled name wrong, but labeled daughter. And my other sister. And then her friend, his name's Amber. Like, who writes this down? But this is the only picture about that. There's like one other one that we can find. There's more. He wrote down way more about the other girls. But we can't find the pictures and we can't find the damn notebook. And then this is the other thing he wrote down. It says, we need time, respect for both. Like, it's just like a bunch of things about my mom. It says, I need to be a priority, boxed in. Like, you guys can read the rest of that. Seems like you don't care. Like a list of a bunch of stuff about my mom. I don't know. This is weird. But you guys can like pause the screen and read that. But he also wrote Allegra, which is my sister, saying she's a red flag for my mom in different social statuses. But some people also ask me what other things his mom has like done that like dropped that she like knows he's not as good as he like says he is. So you know how I told you guys that he cheated on my mom with his ex-wife, right? Well, one day when they were all in his mother's room, like my mom takes care of his mom if you forgot. Well, his phone started like blowing up. Like there was just call after call after call after call. And my mom knew who it was, but she didn't want it to be true. So she just kind of ignored it and pretended it was something else. But then finally she just got so fed up because it was like 20 calls in. So she's like, who is calling you? And mind you, his mom's in the room. And his mom was pretending she was asleep, but then she rolled over and like started like smiling, like a smug ass smile. Like, she knew who it was the entire time. And after he left the room, she straight said to my mom, she's like, if you believe a single word out of that man's mouth, then you are stupid. His own mother is saying this, like, and I just think that's crazy that his own mother is low-key ratting him out. And then I think this is the last thing that I can update you guys on. There really hasn't been much other than we stole the notebook, but then we can't find it now. I don't know if he took it or we just misplaced it, but like, we have good memories, so I feel like we'd remember moving it somewhere else, you know? Oh yes, we did look up the girls' names, and they were like golfers. They were like female golfers. I don't know. I'm gonna just insert the pictures for you guys, but we lost the fucking notebook, and the pictures are gone. So I'm just gonna have to go off memory, but pretty much they were like, a lot of them were like golfers and stuff, like female golfers. I don't really know. Didn't really get a chance to look and see if they had an obituary, or maybe it's a different, because like a lot of people have the same name, you know? So I don't know if it's just a coincidence. I don't know. Also, whenever my mom confronted him about the notebook, his excuse for it was, I just like to write things down. I just get paper and write sometimes. That's what he said. Okay, but like, how do you know all this? That's the real question. If we can freaking find the notebook, I will make another video and post every single page in it. But we cannot find the notebook right now. But then the last thing, pretty much, that I can update you guys on for right now is I will insert the screenshot of what my mom said exactly word for word, but pretty much the way he was talking to his ex-wife, he told his ex-wife that his mom passed away, and then was like crying to his ex-wife about his mom passing. His mom's not passed away, so my mom made sure to let the ex-wife know that his mom is not passed away. Oh yeah, he also got into contact with the ex-wife, and basically the ex-wife told my mom that he's fucking crazy and insane, but then why are you being a homewrecker then? Makes no sense. Yeah, I'm gonna insert that picture of my mom saying that word for word. So this was today. So she said at the top, she's like, he even said it was his last name, but spelled different, just like the gas station situation. Like, he tried to say he owned a gas station, that's why it was his last name, when that was just a fucking lie. I said, you're next, bro. And she sent that, and she said, thanks for the support, and she told me to make a part 2. I said, I know. And then this is where she said, he unalived his mom off to the ex and went to his ex's house crying over the loss of his mom. I let her know his mom ain't unalived. And then she said, he's calling. And then I sent that, she read it, and then she never answered. So this was about 11:43, so like 4 hours ago. I said, you good? She never answered that. But I don't, that was the last thing between me and her, but like, it doesn't, I swear she's fine. She's probably fine. Like, I don't want to make it sound like he got her or something, but like, I don't know. They're probably still on the phone and arguing about something, so don't worry. She's probably fine. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching this. I didn't get to finish getting ready, but there's the update you've all been wanting. It's not much, I'm sorry, but... Hi guys! So I finally have a very long-awaited and very highly requested video. It's going to be a part 3 on my mom's serial boyfriend. So, let's just get started. I know it's been like 6 or 7 months. Okay. Since I like posted like an update on that, but the reason honestly is because I did post a part 3 and it got taken down, and there really hasn't been much of an update. But there has been a little more things lately that honestly make me believe that he's just a crazy person in general. So let me just get into it. So I left off with they were still together. I'm pretty sure I mentioned in one of the other 2 parts that he absolutely hates my little sister. He hates her. I don't know why. I know he's been married and he is old and he doesn't have any kids of his own, so maybe that plays a part in it, but for some reason he just hates my little sister, or because he's a jealous weirdo and my sister takes attention off of him. I don't know. But they have broken up a couple times from then to now, but they always get back together. But I'm pretty sure they are broken up right now. Also, I found out this information. He was abusive towards my mom. I didn't really know that, but after talking to her a little bit after they like broke up, for now at least, he was abusive towards her, and just he cheated on her, was abusive. He like helped a lot in the beginning, like helped pay her bills and stuff, but he doesn't do that anymore. He stopped doing that. Obviously, it's always in the beginning that they do the nice things. But what matters right now for this story is right now they are broken up. So, my mom, prior to this boyfriend, had another boyfriend. I'm gonna call him Tony. That's not his real name, but we're gonna call him Tony for the sake of the video. So Tony was also a piece of crap. My mom just has an awful type, I guess. I don't know. But he was around her age. He was actually closer in age, and he did have kids of his own. But he also, I'm pretty sure, cheated. I could be wrong on that. But he yelled at her. He didn't really help much. He also was a little abusive towards my mom also. But my little sister, he loved my little sister, like, not weirdly, like, he was a very good, like father figure, you know, if you know what I mean. He wasn't the greatest to my mom, but he was great to my little sister. So they broke up around a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. But my little sister was so upset, like, she loved him. She hates the new boyfriend, and the new boyfriend hates her. But, well, they're broken up right now. My little sister got into contact with, by the way, she's 12. So my little sister got into contact with the ex-boyfriend, Tony, and she messaged him. She's, like, been, like, trying to get him back with my mom, without my mom knowing. But my little sister told Tony to come to my mom's house, and my mom didn't know. So he shows up, and he's knocking on the door, and my mom thinks it's the new crazy boyfriend. My mom thinks it because he's, like, known for stalking her. Like, he'll wait outside her house and stalk her. So my mom thought it was him. So she did not answer. But then he went around to the back and knocked on the back door. And then my little sister was like, answer the door, Mom. It's Tony. And my mom's like, what the heck? Like, why would you tell Tony to come here, you know? And either way, she answers the door. And when she answers the door, who else does she see? She sees the new crazy boyfriend. I gotta give him a name. His name's gonna be Chris. She sees Chris right there, and Tony, like, right beside each other. And mind you, Tony doesn't know Chris. Tony doesn't know my mom even had a new boyfriend or anything, because he's been blocked for, like, 2 years. So, they were both surprised. Chris didn't know about Tony, and Tony didn't know about Chris. So, they're both like, what the hell? And I think Chris thought that Tony was trying to, like, break in something because he went around to the back, which Chris does the exact same thing. That's why my mom thought it was him. I guess Tony, like, told Chris, he was like, no, it's okay, like, I know her. So then Chris was even more, like, mad. And so when my mom opens the front door and sees them both there, she's like, oh, gosh, like, you know, because it's crazy. Chris is like, who the fuck is this? Like, whatever. My mom's like, we broke up. You broke up with me. By the way, he broke up with her on her birthday. So, great guy. She's like, you broke up with me on my birthday, like, you have no say, you cheated on me, like, I can talk to whoever I want, even though she didn't even invite Tony, but whatever, for the sake of, I don't know. And then Tony was like, oh my god, like, I didn't even know, like, you guys had a thing. If you guys have this, I'm not trying to get in the middle of this and whatever. And my mom's like, no, he broke up with me on my birthday. And then Tony was like, I'm Tony, nice to meet you. And Chris was like, yeah, no. And then, I don't know, he was, like, yelling at him and stuff, and, like, trying to, like, fight, I guess. I don't know. And my mom's like, both you guys need to fucking leave because they're both pieces of shit. But that's pretty much the only update I have right now. I don't even know what's going on with that. Oh, yeah. And then I was working the other night, and my mom texted me, and I was like, what the hell? Look, I'll put in a screenshot of what she texted me. She was like, what are you doing? You okay? Did you knock on my door? I was like, no, I'm working. And she didn't answer, so I was like, hello? She was like, okay, sorry, no one knocks ever. Just wanted to make sure you were good. I love you. And I was like, who was it? She was like, I don't know, I got scared, I didn't open it. So I don't know if it's Chris or if it's Tony, but either way, like, it's not a good situation. But if I, like, had to pick one, I don't know, they're both fucking crazy. Like, I know Tony, like, stabbed a knife through my mom's table and broke, like, 2 of her phones and left bruises on her. Yeah, honestly, neither's a good pick. I think she should call the cops, actually. But anyway, at least Tony doesn't stalk her. Chris stalks her, and, like, he was waiting outside her house when Tony got there. And my mom didn't even know. So that's actually insane. I really feel like she should get a restraining order, but also for everyone saying I need to kidnap my sister or whatever, like, we have different dads, and I'm 17 years old. I can't really do anything. But my sister's fine for now, so that's all the updates I have right now. He's basically still crazy, calling her all fake numbers and everything, even though he broke up with her. They broke up a million times, and they always go back to her. No, the reason they break up all the time is because he hates my little sister. Like, he, like, says it to my mom and my sister. She's like, I hate your daughter. Mind you, she's 12. And you don't say that. Like, he's always disliked her. Like, he's actually insane. He'd be mad if I even talked to my mom, like, and was taking attention away from him. He's, like, an adult baby. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you have any advice, yeah, let me know. My mom sees all these videos and comments, so if you want to leave a comment for my mom, go ahead. I also didn't really ask her if I could post this, but hopefully she's okay with it. Love you, Mom. And love you guys. So, yes, let me know what you guys think. And if anything else happens, I will try to make a part 4 now. I did make part 3, but it got taken out. So this is a new part 3, I guess. I don't even remember what I said in that since it was like 6 months ago. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great night. And sorry this video took so long to get out. Love you guys.
Make it make sense. He is pushing 70 and she is 43. That age gap alone is a lot. But then you add in the lying. A man that lies about his age, lies about owning a gas station, and lies about having fingerprints? Baby, who doesn't have fingerprints unless they are running from the feds or trying to cover up a crime scene? That right there is the reddest flag I have ever seen. And then he got the nerve to be cheating with his ex-wife and lying to her saying his own mama died when the woman is alive and well in the other room? That man is not wrapped tight. He is unhinged. But what really got me scared for your mama is that notebook. A list of women with their weights, heights, and eye colors. That is literally a serial killer starter pack. And he got a locked room in his house that nobody can go in? No, ma'am. That is where he hiding the secrets. And then he calling her talking about serial killers randomly on the phone? He is telling on himself. He is showing her exactly who he is, and she is not believing him. And don't even get me started on him beefing with a 12-year-old child. A grown man, a senior citizen, jealous of a little girl? That is a spirit of evil right there. He is trying to isolate the mom. He's stalking her, sitting outside her house in the dark. Child, that is predator behavior. I know the little sister was messy for calling the ex-boyfriend Tony over, but honestly, she was just trying to save her mama because she knows something ain't right. Your mama needs to wake up, change the locks, get a restraining order, and get as far away from this man as possible. He is dangerous, he is manipulative, and he is ticking like a time bomb. You and your sister need to keep watching out for her because this man is bad news. Point blank, period. Stay safe, baby girl.
So this is the story of how I found out that my husband was having an affair with 4 women. 2 of them were my friends, and 1 of them was my best friend. Trigger warning, as this story does contain themes of unaliving, so if that does upset you, then please scroll on. So I met my first husband in 2006. I was 20 years old, and I met him in a place called Jumping Jacks, which was in the bottom floor of a nightclub in Bolton called Icon. If you know, you know. I remember the strobe lighting being on and looking across the dance floor and just seeing the most gorgeous blue eyes and thinking, wow. I come to find out that he's a scaffolder, that everybody knows him. He's just a really friendly guy and just a good guy to be around. I really, really fell in love with him at the time. We moved in together, and within a year I was pregnant, and in 2008 we had our first son. He was followed by a daughter in 2010, and he was a good dad, a hands-on dad. I'm not going to slate him, but he did things that guys do when they're young. He would disappear at weekends, they'd go drinking, turn his phone off. But when he was there, he was a good dad. And I trusted him. I did trust him implicitly at the time. He never gave me any reason to doubt him. Quite quickly, he set up a car dealing business with his friend. And then eventually he set up a car dealing business with another friend because he wanted to break out on his own. Now, he would go out every single day, every single night, but he always told me where he was. He always came in at the time he said he would come in, and I thought he was building his business. I had no reason not to trust him. In 2012, he asked me to marry him. I was very, very happy. I said yes, and in 2014, we got married with our 2 children at the wedding. Again, I trusted him. He never gave me any reason not to trust him, apart from an incident maybe in 2015 where, you know, where you're borrowing someone's phone, and I was like, my phone wasn't available at the time, and I said, can I just, I think it was check the weather or something like that, and I was looking at his phone, and a message popped up, maybe off of his mum, and I looked at it, and I'd said a question as, why did your mum want this, or whatever it was, and he grabbed the phone, he went as white as a sheet, and he ran downstairs, and he shut the living room door, and I was banging on the door saying, are you cheating? What's going on?
and I think he was probably deleting everything off the phone at that time. He came out and he said it was because he was arranging a surprise for me, and he didn't want me to see. Now, for whatever reason, maybe I had 2 children, we were newly married, I was young and I wanted to believe him. We moved on, and as far as I was concerned, he was trying to build his business. Again, he would come in when he said he would at night, even though he was working every night, maybe till 12, but he said that he was doing paperwork. People still want to come and see cars later on at night after they finish work, and I genuinely believe that he was working for the good of his family. In 2016, he seemed to have gone a little bit more depressed and just wasn't himself, but he had no history of mental health issues, never threatened to do anything. He just seemed a little bit down, and when I asked him why, he said that the business just wasn't doing as well as he thought it would. However, he would catch up. We come to July 2016 and it is my daughter's 6th birthday. So a few days before the birthday, we had an argument again about him going out drinking and not being available on the phone at that time. And I was just wondering what was going on, so we had a huge argument about it. On the Friday, it was my daughter's birthday. We argued again and he ended up staying out the night. I thought he was at his friend's. On the Saturday, I'd still not heard from him. I was very annoyed because he'd not seen my daughter on her 6th birthday. And it came to bath time on the Saturday night. His friend messaged me and asked, have you heard from him? Now, he was never, ever off his phone, ever. So I checked the WhatsApp and this was about 8 o'clock at night, and I last saw that he'd been on his phone at 10 a.m. that morning. That instantly rang alarm bells, and I don't know why. I just felt like he'd done something, and I just knew where he would have done it. I instantly got the kids out of the bath and I told them to get in the car, and we drove straight to his garage where he sold cars. On the way, I called his business partner, and his business partner instantly said, please don't go on your own. Pick up his girlfriend at the time and take her with you. So I went and I picked her up and she came with me. When we got there, I left the children in the car and I walked down the lane, and it looked closed and it had like a hockey puck lock on the door, and I thought it was locked at the time, and I couldn't get in. So I called the police and I said, I think that my husband might be in there and I need somebody down here. They then put him as a missing person. When you call the police, they basically tier them as what kind of missing person they are, whether they need immediate attention or whether they're high risk, low risk. They put him as a middle risk because I did say that he had been struggling with work. They advised me to go home and wait for a police officer to come. So I went home with the 2 children and I waited. A police officer came and he took a statement and he asked me, could he have any other women on the go? Could he be anywhere that you don't know about? And I said, absolutely not. There is no way. He loves his family. He adores me and he would never do that to us. The police officer left and he was calling round his friends at the time. And I tried to just go to sleep, hoping that maybe he just disappeared for a bit, maybe he needed some time for himself. And yeah, I just tried to sleep as best I could, and hopefully wait for better news. At about 2 a.m, my phone rang and it was a private number, and I answered it, and it was a woman. And she asked me for my husband's best friend's phone number. And I said, why do you want it? And she said, I just need it, please. Can I have it? And I said, who are you? And she wouldn't say a name. And I just said, have you been seeing my husband? And she said, yes. And I said, how long has it been going on? And she said, 2 years. And I said, did you know about me and my children? And she said, yes. So he had been seeing her for 2 years. This began 2 months before we got married. I was absolutely devastated. I called my friend. I called my mum. Both my mum and my friend come round. Thankfully they did, because about half an hour after they both walked through the door, I got the phone call from his friend, his best friend, who said that unfortunately he had been found dead in his car dealing unit. I think I screamed and made a sound that I didn't think the human body was probably capable of making. My whole world had fallen apart in the space of an hour. I then had the policeman who dealt with the missing person case come back, and he told me that how he'd been found, and that his best friend and his friends knew about this other woman. The reason that they knew about this other woman is because his best friend was also seeing her before my husband was seeing her, and that's how my husband met her. His best friend was also my best friend's boyfriend. I then, at the age of 29, had to deal with 2 children who had just lost their dad. I had to deal with a funeral. I'd never dealt with anything like that before. And obviously your friends rally around you, and that's what they did, particularly my best friend, who again was his best friend, the guy who'd found him, his girlfriend. She was with me when we went to say goodbye. I was very scared to say goodbye to him. I was scared of what he would look like, and obviously I'd never seen anything like that before, and it took me maybe a week and a half to go, but I eventually went, and I asked her to come with me, and as I saw him I dropped to the floor crying. She was the first one who, she went over and she kissed him and she hugged him, and at the time I thought it was because she was his friend too. They used to play poker every Thursday in the pub, and I used to laugh saying my best friend is going on a date with him, and that he was taking her out on a date. And yeah, she got to say goodbye. She hugged him, kissed him, and then I came over and I hugged him and I kissed him and got to say goodbye. I'm going to have to go into a part 2 of how I found out about the rest of them and was hit with the worst betrayal that you could ever imagine. So this is my best friend. I relied on her for everything. There was 3 of us. I had another best friend, and it was just us 3 together. Like I said, because she was his best friend's girlfriend, we spent so much time together, and she helped me plan the funeral. She came with me to visit the priest. We picked music together of what he was going to have, and she really involved herself in that time. I remember the hearse coming round and seeing the flowers with Daddy on the day of the funeral, and obviously I was crying, I was upset, but she was really upset, and I was thinking, God, they must have been really good friends. At this point, there are rumours flying around, and I remember the first time that I'd heard this rumour, we'd gone for a few drinks, like trying to take my mind off it, and another friend that I knew said, well, this rumour's going around, and my best friend got so upset. She was really upset, and I remember saying to her, that's absolutely ridiculous, and you'd know that when I get his phone back from police, well, it's going to be in there, so there's just no way, you wouldn't be that stupid. And she was so convincing. She was like, exactly, I'm so upset that people would think this of me. At this time, the police were asking me, did I know his password? I was saying that I didn't know his password. I actually didn't, because he would change it all the time, which is another red flag, which I shouldn't have let go. But he used to say that his friends will get hold of his phone and they'll take pictures and just do silly stuff on it. This was a grown man at the time, and I believed him. I did, however, know his Apple ID and login, and I didn't want to tell the police that because I thought that that was my right, it was my property, I was next of kin, and I didn't want them wiping anything. I wanted my own answers, and I wanted to find out what happened myself. So at this time I had really complicated feelings, because obviously I'd found out he'd been cheating on me, he'd been having an affair for 2 years behind my back, and I had no idea. This woman just lived on the other side of town, and I had no idea about her whatsoever. She knew everything about me and had been stalking me for 2 years, and I had no clue. When I eventually looked at her Instagram, it was exactly the same as mine. It mirrored mine in exactly the same way. She would do things that I would do, such as bake cakes, make pelmets. She'd based her entire personality on me, and I had no idea. I did, however, still give him a lovely funeral and a lovely send-off, and was still very respectful of him at that point, because I did still love him. Obviously, I never got to confront him about what he'd done to me, so it was very, very complicated mixed feelings for me. Life went on, and 3 months later I met another man who is a whole other story. He was my saviour, everything that I needed, and I felt that I had no loyalties to my husband anymore because he'd just done me so dirty, basically. It was kind of a gift that I did. I felt that I could move on quicker. I would never have moved on had I not known what he was doing. But it was like a parting gift that he gave me in a way that made it a bit easier for me. 3 months later, I then get his phone back from the police. I turned it on, and I started scrolling through all the messages, and one of the messages that came up was from my best friend. When they were going to poker every Thursday, they were meeting up and doing things in the car behind his best friend's back and my back also. This had been going on for months. I carried on scrolling, I looked through some other messages. The next message that I found was where he'd been meeting up with a girl who was my son's friend's mum. She had done my hair for my wedding, so she was also a friend and acquaintance, somebody who would be friendly with me, and she was also meeting up with him. Another girl was his business partner's daughter, who we had just been on a big holiday with as a big group, and her husband was also his friend, and she was also somebody that I would have considered a friend. I then messaged my best friend and just told her never to speak to me ever again, and I walked away, and she just said, "I'm sorry," and that was that. And to this day, I've never ever had it out with her. I never had closure with any of them. I've never really been able to ask them why they did that, but they have to live with that for the rest of their lives. I would never do that to another woman, and I think that if you do that behind another woman's back, with a man that you know is married, with a man you know has a family, has children, you are nothing but a scumbag. The betrayal and the pain that I felt was indescribable. But as sad as this is to say, it kind of gave me an out, because I think when people unalive themselves, people around them, especially their family, their friends, they look for somebody to blame. They want to have a reason. Sometimes there is no reason. And people would have blamed me had he not been doing what he was doing. I decided, though, that I was just going to move on with my life. I had 2 children to think about, and I had to remain dignified. I wasn't going to do anything that I regretted, that was going to harm myself, harm my children. I just wanted to move on with my life, and it took me a long time to forgive him for what he did. I mean, I'm now 8 years down the line, 9 years down the line, nearly 9 years, and it's taken me to now really to start processing everything that I've been through, and grief has no timeline, and people go back for grief counselling years and years later because it doesn't hit them until years later. And like I said, because I met somebody quite quickly, we then got married, we had another child, I didn't really deal with it, and I'm only just dealing with it now. So that's my story. There is a lot more to the story, really, a lot more details that I could and probably will go into at some point. But I just hope that I can help people with this TikTok. It's taken me a long time to speak out about what I went through, and I just want to help other grieving mothers. My children are amazing, and I'd like to speak more on that and how you can help children who have been through the loss of a parent. And if you watch the whole thing, thank you for listening. I do appreciate it.
This is a testimony of survival, plain and simple. First of all, my heart goes out to her. You listen to her voice and you can hear she's been through the fire and back. She met this man young, 20 years old, saw them blue eyes and fell in love. And ain't that how it always starts? He was charming, Everybody loved him. He was a good daddy when he was there. But baby, those red flags, they were waving from day one. Disappearing on weekends, turning off the phone, running down the stairs and hiding in a room when she asked to see his phone. That ain't just privacy. That is guilt. That is a man with a whole closet full of skeletons. But the way this tragedy unfolded, Lord have mercy. To get that call that your husband is gone, that he took his own life, that is a pain nobody should ever have to carry. That is a heavy, heavy burden. You're thinking about your babies. You're thinking about the whys. But then, for the truth to start coming out while the body is barely cold, that is the devil working. Getting a call at 2 a.m. from a mistress asking for his friend's number, the disrespect. 2 years he was with that woman. 2 years. And he married his wife right in the middle of it. The audacity is off the charts. But what really got me, what really made my blood boil, was part 2, the best friend. Child, listen to me. The best friend. The one who rode with her to find him. The one who stood by her side at the funeral. The one who helped pick out the gospel songs and cried crocodile tears right next to the widow. That is a special kind of wicked. That is demonic. To look a woman in her face, hold her hand while she's grieving the father of her children, knowing you were sleeping with him every Thursday behind her back, and not just her, the hairdresser, the business partner's daughter. This man wasn't just cheating. He was living a whole lie. He had a whole rotation. And to think she found all this out because she got his phone back months later, that was divine intervention. That was God opening her eyes so she wouldn't spend the rest of her life pining after a man who didn't respect her. She said it was a parting gift that he gave her, and she is right. Because if she didn't know the truth, that guilt would have eaten her alive. It's messy, it's tragic, and it's trifling. But look at her now, 9 years later, remarried, more babies, standing tall. She didn't let that betrayal break her. She walked away with her dignity, and that best friend, she got to live with her shame. And trust me, what's done in the dark always comes to the light. Always. Bless her heart, she is a strong woman. Because I tell you what, if that was me, I don't know if I would have handled it with that much grace.